Okay, I'd like to go through number 31 on page 237 with you so that you can familiarize yourself with how to plug numbers in your calculator and do both a linear regression line and a quadratic regression line. So if you're struggling with that, just you can fast forward this video as much as you want or rewind it as much as you want to see exactly what you need to see so that you can have this in your calculator tomorrow. So I'm doing number 31 from your textbook on page 237, and it talks about the price of a stamp. And in 1974 it was 10 cents, and the last year is in 2002 it was a 37-cent stamp. So we want to put this information into our calculator. So to start that process, we're going to go to Stat, and when we press the Stat button, we get a menu that looks like this, and we're going to go to Edit and Edit, and we're going to move to List 1, and I'm going to start putting in the years after 1974. So my year of 1974 would actually be 0, so I'm going to type in 0, and then 4, 7, 9, 14, 21, 27, and 28. I'm going to move over to my list 2, and I'm going to put the price of the stamps in those years into list 2. And so the price of the stamps there, it started out in 1974, a stamp was 10 cents, and then it moved up to 15 cents and 18, and then 20, 25, 32, 34, and 37 cents. And so now they're in my list, and so now what I want to do is graph those points. And so right now if I press y equals, you have a lot of other things into your y equals. We can clear everything by pressing the second and then the plus sign, and we're going to go back. We're going to go down to reset everything. We're going to reset it to the defaults and press reset again, and that way when we press graph, we have a regular graph with nothing on it. We still have all these things here, but nothing is highlighted. We could go and just clear everything, and so that nothing is highlighted. What we want to do though is plot the points we just put in there, which is plot 1. So we're going to highlight that plot, and the way we do that is go to second and y equals. That's the stat plot button. And so once we get there, right now they're all off. I'm going to press enter, and I'm going to turn this on. And it's a scatter plot, so I'll keep it there. I want my x values to come from list 1 and my y values to come from list 2, and I'm going to use these open circles. But right now when I graph it, nothing really is there because I'm outside of the window. And so I have to make a window that includes x values that go from 0 to 28 and y values that go from 10 to 37. And so I'm going to go to my window, and right now my x values go from negative 10 to 10. I'm going to change that so that it goes from, let's say, negative 5 to, let's say, 40. And I'm going to change I'm going to keep it at, I'm going to make the scale be 5. And I'm going to change my y minimum to, let's say, negative 10. I'm going to go all the way up to, let's say, 50. And I'm going to count by tens. So now when I press graph, I'm inside the window, and you can see the price of a stamp has been increasing like that. That kind of looks like a line. I don't know if it would be best to represent that information with a linear regression line or a quadratic regression line. But what they want us to do on number 31 is use a quadratic regression line for this. So that would be a quadratic equation, a parabola that kind of goes through those points the best that it can. And so to do that, just like a linear regression line would go through it the best that it can. It's not going to go through every point, but it will go through the majority of them and be closest to all of them. So I'm going to go back to stat. This time I'm going to move over to calculate, and I'm going to calculate a quadratic regression line, which for me is number 5, and I'll press enter. Once I do that, I want to tell my calculator that my lists, or my x values, come from list 1, so I'm going to press second 1, which is list 1, followed by a comma. And then my y values, I want to come from list 2, followed by a comma. And then I want my equation to be automatically put into my calculator for me. So I'm going to press another comma and then go to the variables, y variables, function, y1. And now when I press enter, my quadratic equation looks like this. I don't know how clear that is on the video, but the A value is negative 0.011, the B value is 1.244, and the C value is 9.97. And if we graph that, there's my quadratic equation that goes through those points. And it does a pretty good job of going through a lot of them. It doesn't go through all of them perfectly, like these 2 points here. It doesn't go through perfectly, but it'll give me a good idea of an equation that can help me predict the price of a stamp, like in the future. And that's what I'd like for you to come back to class with tomorrow.